just smiling in, smiling in, smiling in. And rightfully so, I've been trying to find you. I don't wanna say goodbye out loud. Doesn't matter where you're going, where you're going. Oh, oh. And rightfully so, no one else will. Love isn't meant to be alone. Doesn't matter where you're going, where you're going. I'll go home.
Hello everybody, we is back again this week from a month hiatus, probably at least, to talk about some stuff about Halloween. So, yeah, what are we talking about with Halloween, honey?
So every year around Halloween time, I'm always questioning whether or not I should let my kids dress up. Trick-or-treating is not a question because it's not safe in my eyes. But it's whether or not we're gonna celebrate Halloween and how we're gonna celebrate it. So this year, I started asking a couple of friends what they thought they were gonna do for Halloween, and it just turned into like this huge video, which we're gonna be talking about today. And what we're gonna talk about is different viewpoints that we've learned from people about Halloween and how they choose to celebrate it if they do, and if people don't celebrate Halloween, why not? So did we decide what we're gonna do about Halloween? We don't have a permanent answer, but this year we are gonna take our kids to a church, something called Light Up the Night, which is where they have kids come and dress up, and they have candy for them and games and a bounce house, and they share a message about Jesus with them, and then they all go home to their parents all sugared up. So that's something that we have been doing. When we decided to interview people, one of the things that I wanted to look up first was the history of Halloween. And what I found was that it was a Celtic practice. Hi y'all. I was just editing our video and I realized that I misspoke about how Halloween came to be. And so I'm just recording an individual video that I'll insert into the actual video. So bear with me. So Halloween started as a traditional practice by the Celtics. They called it, I think it's pronounced Samhain. I'll put the name of the festival in the video. And basically they would wear costumes, they would have a bonfire to ward off evil spirits. They believed that during fall, during the change of the season, particularly in fall, the barrier between life and death in this world and the other world that they believed in was very thin, and so they would wear these costumes and have these bonfires to ward off ghosts. And after that, the Catholics decided to make it All Saints Day. I don't know why, but they did. And so I'm not sure what that all incorporated. I'm sure they had some sort of feast for the saints, and then it's evolved into Halloween in America. So yeah, there are also undertones of like the holiday being satanic and like witches celebrating it, and I looked into that too, and what the internet says is that, and there were some interviews that I read from actual people who practice Wiccan, that they celebrate the death of nature and then the rebirth of it in the springtime. As far as Satanists go, there was not a whole lot of information on the internet about like how Satanists celebrate this holiday. I'm sure it's not good if they do. So, yeah.
So the one that I thought was the most interesting and the most informative to me, at least.
Please stop looking at the computer. The whole video, you're looking at the computer.
Okay. Did you want to do this by yourself first?
No, I want you to help, but
I'm trying to help. Why do you care help?
because it looks bad when people are watching the video and you're just staring over. They can't even see this, so you're just staring over in the corner. It looks weird. So we're gonna start that over. I'm gonna cut all that out. Come on.
Whew. Father in heaven. Thank you, God, for this day. Thank you for family and our kids. And thank you for this video coming together, because it was just on a whim that it even was able to be done. And so, God, I'm just asking that your presence be with us, and the Holy Spirit be with us in making this. I pray that your Son would be glorified. I pray against the enemy who comes to kill, steal, and destroy. Father, I just ask that you would help our emotions and our minds be focused on this video and you, and that we would not go astray. This all would be done in love. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, so after that, we did some kind of interviews with friends of ours and people that we knew. And we kind of found that people generally land in 3 different categories. So we have people that are like hard-nosed, like just don't want to celebrate Halloween, and they have fair reasons not to. We have a category of people who don't so much mind celebrating, but will do it in a way like a harvest festival or something different. And then we have people that are just go trick-or-treat and dress up and just like the normal cultural thing to do. So the one that was the most interesting to me was a friend of ours who's a pastor, and he just had some really good points. So he landed in the category of maybe celebrating, but like in a worship night type of atmosphere, where you give the kids a bunch of candy and let them have some fun. The one that they do, they share the gospel with them at the end, which is great. But a couple of the points that he made that I really liked is that as Christians we celebrate light and not darkness. And things like witches and demons and things that you might associate with Halloween and dressing up just aren't things that we want to celebrate as followers of Christ. So that really made sense to me, I think, and may sound extreme, I guess, to some people, but I think that's true. And then something that he said that stuck out was, how do we want to represent Christ in our culture to like the people that are around us and the people that we know? Like, do we want to represent him with dressing up as a ghost, or like as just focusing on the gospel and the things that are important? So I really thought his point of view was interesting. So
and also in that category were a mom and daughter friend of ours, and I have a video of their interview, so maybe I'll put like a few snippets here.
Hi, I'm Paula, and this is my mom. So, do we celebrate Halloween?
No.
Let me think about that for a little bit. No. See, the whole thing is kind of twisted to seem like a fun, joyous holiday. I mean, don't get me wrong, like eating candy and putting on costumes, like that's all great, but like behind the veil of what it actually is celebrating what's wicked and evil. We're at all, so sorry.
Tag me in.
Tag, you're it.
Go. So, as far as Halloween is concerned, not trying to over-spiritualize anything, but there is a spiritual aspect to everything that we do. So, what a lot of people don't know is Halloween is a satanic holiday. They celebrate death, and Jesus came to give us life. However, we do believe in candy.
We do.
So,
Listen, we definitely believe in candy.
I would go, they would have harvest parties at churches sometimes, but just personally, I would just buy different bags of candy. I have grandkids now. There's 4 bags of candy and more shopping to be done next week.
We get. So the people in the middle also talked about some stipulations. Even though they were willing to celebrate, they didn't say that they celebrated Halloween. They said that they would celebrate like a harvest festival or allow their kids to have candy and whatnot. The stipulation though for what their kids could dress up as was nothing scary, and some people said that they wouldn't want their kids to dress up outside of any biblical characters, but then others said that they were fine with innocent costumes such as like Minnie Mouse, Mickey Mouse, princesses, astronauts, anything of that nature. And so they didn't want to celebrate any sort of darkness or goblins and goons, and also just being frightened and afraid. They didn't want to expose their kids to those things. and maybe open up doorways for them in the future. That was something that one of the couples had said that we interviewed. They didn't want to celebrate Halloween because they didn't want to open up any doorways for any demonic or evil things to expose their kids to. And I think that was one of our pastor friends' points, is that although we celebrate Halloween as if it is a some sort of like fairy tale, or that these things are not real, and in fact, you know, demonic and dark forces are very real. So that was the middle ground. The last group of people that were interviewed, and actually I think we only had one couple in this category that was a super yes on celebrating Halloween. This couple actually defined Halloween a little bit differently. They defined Halloween not as like super scary or super horror or anything like that. It was defined as like being a kiddish Halloween. So like, I've never heard of these movies or anything, but these movies were brought up in the conversation. So like Hocus Pocus or Halloween Town or Jack Skellington or The Night Before Christmas, I think that's what it's called. And so they had defined Halloween in like a very childish way. And they were not okay with their kids dressing up as anything scary, but they were okay with dressing up and they were okay with trick-or-treating. And so those were the three spectrums of people that we found. I think when interviewing all of these different families and couples and just individuals, like I said, we found several themes. Mostly did not condone allowing their kids to dress up in evil or horrific or scary costumes. They didn't want to celebrate Halloween in the way that the world celebrates Halloween, such as like Fright Night and just being just demonic things like in evil and darkness, and those were consistent themes throughout the conversations that we had with all people. There was one particular conversation from somebody that was in the middle, stood out to me. What this person had said, this person's an evangelist, and so he loves sharing the gospel with people. What up was that he thinks that, you know, Halloween is the best time that any Christian should share the gospel, because you don't have to go out and share the gospel. People actually come to you. They come to your door and knock on your door, and you're able to share Christ with them in that way. And I asked him, you know, how does he do that? And he talked about having some gospel tracts that are in the form of a comic book for kids, and that he would put them in plastic bags with candy, and he would give them to the kids, or he would put out a sign on his door that says "Take one." I thought that was very neat. Also, part of that conversation that came up that I thought was really important is, as Christians, anything that we do, whether it be eating or drinking or just living our lives, should be to the glory of God. I think the conversation has now become not if we should celebrate Halloween, but how we should celebrate Halloween. And when I say celebrate Halloween, I don't mean celebrate Halloween, but how we should participate in this culture during Halloween as Christians. And I think that was a really good point. So anything that we do, we should be doing to the glory of God. If we are going to be dressing up our kids and people are going to be coming to our door for candy, how can we exalt God and His Son? Next year we'll have a video maybe talking about what we've decided to do after we like sift through some of this information that we've gotten. But I know that a lot of parents have been asking these questions, and I'm not the only one. So we wanted to make a video and just kind of tell you what we found and present to you some ideas. And we want to thank you guys for watching. We have Instagram and we have Facebook now, and I will put the links to those below in the comment section. If you guys have any other ideas, or if there are any questions that you have about the people that we interviewed or things that we found out, or if you even have suggestions on how other families can celebrate Halloween outside of this culture, or any ideas of how that can be done, we would love to hear them, and I'm sure other people watching would love to hear them as well, so feel free to comment about that. Well, that's all for us, guys. Matt has to go to work. We're filming this in the morning. It's really early. Bye. She just learned how to say bye. Say bye. Bye-bye.
So there's nobody there.
Can you say bye? There you go.
Bye. We'll see you all next time.